There are a number of ways in which AGL will be impacted. So essentially you can think of our impacts in two main ways. The first is as a generator of electricity, where we produce greenhouse gas emissions through the combustion of fuel. We'll have a direct liability under the scheme. Using our National Greenhouse Energy Reporting Act data, that means a liability of roughly 1.5 million tonnes. But where most of our liability will come from is actually as a gas retailer. We retail gas to mums and dads, to small, medium and large businesses. And for businesses that don't choose to manage their own liability, in addition to mums and dads, we will incur a liability for the combustion of natural gas, whether it be for cooking, heating, or for combustion in an industrial process, and that is something more in the order of 7 or 8 million tonnes. So all in all, we will have a direct liability at $20 a tonne of a couple of $100 million, but upstream of that, as we see higher energy costs coming down the supply chain, on behalf of our customers we'll be managing higher energy costs of something in the order of $1 billion.
So how does that then trickle down, A, to businesses at, say, the small to medium enterprise level, and then to the retail customers?
There are a number of ways in which it will impact on the medium business users. They're likely to have their own liability for combustion emissions on site, whether it be any coal or gas they use, or other forms of emission producing activity. So we'll be working with those customers to try and not only minimise the energy costs that move through to their final bill, whether it be through embedded generation on site or energy efficiency type activities, but we'll also be looking to help them manage their own direct liability. For smaller users like mums and dads, households and small businesses, essentially they will see no direct liability on their particular business, but they will see higher costs coming through associated with higher costs of producing energy due to that carbon liability.
So is that the expectation then, that higher cost will encourage a change in their energy use? Is that the end game?
It is. It's a bit of a misconception that a carbon price is designed to reduce use of electricity and gas. It certainly will encourage efficient use of electricity and gas, where customers would use an amount of electricity and gas in proportion to the costs of reducing their energy consumption. But longer term, we all know that we will need to consume electricity because it is an essential service. So there is both the demand side effect, where people can reduce inefficient consumption of electricity, but then there's a supply side effect where we start substituting conventional thermal generation for things like renewable generation, gas-fired generation, and potentially new forms of technology, whether they might be carbon capture and storage, geothermal, a whole range of other types of technologies.
What happens to the businesses whose costs will increase because the cost of energy will increase for them, but because of the nature of their business they're unable to build that into the cost to their customers, that the customers are not going to be responsive to that? That's going to reduce their margins. Is there a sector within the business community that's going to find this a burden almost too heavy to carry?
There are essentially two forms of businesses. The first is the very large energy intensive businesses, and with the provision of assistance through the Clean Energy Future Package, most of those industries will essentially be either impacted in a very, very minor way, or the impact will be neutral. The next tier down are the medium users of energy who may not qualify for assistance under the Clean Energy Future Package. But where carbon prices are scheduled to be in the first few years of the scheme at around $20 to $25 a tonne, the impact of that carbon price will be relatively small compared to other drivers of higher energy prices. So one of the key themes that we're talking to our customers about is, irrespective of a carbon price, you have incentives to look at new forms of technology to reduce your overall energy spend. That might be cogeneration. We've just done a project with Qenos in Altona in Victoria, where we're building a 21 megawatt cogeneration facility. That's an example of a project where a customer has not only looked at carbon, but has looked at the longer term price paths for electricity and for gas, and has come to a decision that a cogeneration plant is the best way for providing their energy needs moving forward to minimise their energy spend.
Now that the legislation has been passed, it will come into effect in July next year, has it delivered certainty, do you think, to the business sector, or is there still an overall question mark?
The most pleasing thing to note about the current debate is that there is bipartisan support for a 2020 emission reduction target. Where the disagreement currently exists is around the mechanism. And one of the things which AGL is calling on all participants in the public policy process is to actually agree on the mechanism. When we've got agreement on the mechanism across the board, we will have that requisite certainty to go on and invest in new generation.